Your Class 1 students are continuing to progress with the bow this week. The first item on their practice chart is to tighten and rosin the bow when they unpack. So with tightening, I think I showed you last week, we want about a pencil's width of space between the hair and the stick at the middle, approximately the middle of the bow. And then we just tighten that righty-tighty with the screw at the frog until the pencil falls out, and that will be plenty tight. Your students are doing a good job with recognizing when it's tight enough. Most of them are not using the pencil anymore. And then with rosining, the rosin is actually made out of tree sap, and it leaves a sticky dust on the hair of the bow, which then helps the bow grip the string and create more vibration. So we don't want to over apply, because that just kind of makes a big mess of rosin dust, and it can make the violin sound a bit scratchy. But conversely, if there's not enough rosin, it will sound very wispy. So I've taught your students a specific way to apply the rosin, and we start at the frog, and we're going to do little scrubbing motions, working our way from the frog to the tip, and then we're going to do 3 long strokes. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. That should be plenty of rosin. And they can rosin every time, well, once a day, rosin once a day. Presumably, if they're practicing once a day, then they rosin every time they unpack. All right, so the bow is ready, but we're gonna go ahead and start with the bow hold bunny on the pencil like normal. So we're gonna make 2 bow hold bunnies on the pencil, and then we're gonna do it twice on the bow. So shake, 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 flop. Slide the thumb under the middle 2 fingers. Wake up, bunny. Nibble, 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 jump. Then we have a curved ear and a floppy ear. Just like last week, we're looking for a little mouse hole here. And we're also checking for squashy knuckles. Ultimately, the goal with the squashy knuckles is that we have that flexibility in all the knuckles down the finger, but we're starting with just checking that base knuckle there for squashability. And then we'll do that 2 times, and then we'll move on to the bow. So I went ahead and put a couple of little markers on your students' bows just to help them find that spot where the thumb goes. The markers, though, sometimes they're not staying put, so you may need to adjust them. They just need to be sort of on either side of this little notch where the thumb goes. So one goes on the thumb leather, and the other is kind of going around the little bit of the frog there. All right, so when we make our bow hold bunny, we're going to do the same thing. The left hand is holding the stick here, and we go shake, 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 flop. Slide the thumb under the middle 2 fingers. Wake up, bunny. Nibble, 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 jump. And we put the thumb just there in that little notch between the frog here and the thumb leather here. Okay, wrap the big fingers around, the middle fingers around. We've got a curved ear and a floppy ear, just like so. So this is what their bow hold should look like. When the hair is facing them, the thumb should bend to touch the hair just there next to the ferrule. All right, so there's our bow hold. We can do that 2 times, and then we're going to do up like a rocket with our bow. Most of the students need to continue holding the bow with 2 hands in order to not be tensing their hand or having their fingers buckle while they're holding it. So with 2 hands, we go up like a rocket, down like the rain, back and forth like a subway train, round and round like the great big sun. Land on your hand, curve your pinky, bend your thumb. And they should be checking for a curved pinky and a bent thumb. Alrighty, so then we're going to put the bow down for a few minutes while we get going with our violin. So starting in rest position with the rest position song. Rest position, feet in line, scroll out front, that's mighty fine. Check your bridge, 'cause it should be pointing out at you and me. Now it's time to take a bow. 1 and 2 and 3, that's how. And then in rest position, we'll go ahead and do our special circle slides. So we just make a little circle at the crease of that base knuckle on the first finger in the left hand, like so. And we're going to do our special circle slides. So as we're doing this, we're just looking to make sure that we have a straight wrist and that the movement is coming from the elbow. So not from the wrist, but moving from the elbow, and that our thumb is opposite the first finger on the other side of the neck there. Just making a sort of polishing motion. All right. So then we're going to go ahead and go back in, with our bow, and we're going to go from rest position to playing position with the bow. So let me get my shoulder rest back on here. All right, so we've got our bow here. Okay, so the bow in rest position goes like this. They have their right hand, they make a little hook with their first finger and just hook the bow at the frog onto that first finger with the hair facing away from them. The hair faces away, that's important. All right, so we're gonna get into playing position. We go zip, step, sway. Mr. Snappy swims under the violin, thumb on the back, finger on the strings, snap. We have stop the traffic, button to the sky, make a silly hat, hello ear, snuggle into the shoulder. Okay, when that's nice and comfy, then Mr. Snappy swims away and holds the bow. Okay, so the left hand is holding the bow here while we make our bow hold bunny. And again, making sure that we get the thumb on the stick between the frog and the thumb leather, placing the other fingers. And then we have our rainbow fingers, and the violin goes on the E string. Okay, so then we are doing cat doors. So with the bow on the E string, we should have approximately a right angle here at the elbow. And so we're imagining that this is a cat door here. So if you imagine a folder or something here, then as your student lifts their arm, they're kind of lifting that folder, just like a little cat door or dog door or whatever you like to call it. So for this, we're thinking about having a sticky bow that's not sliding while we're opening and closing that cat door. Okay, and we're just rocking the bow by initiating the movement from the elbow. Lifting the elbow, the bow goes to lower strings, and then lowering the elbow, the bow goes to higher strings. Okay, so we're just rocking back and forth like so, initiating the movement from the elbow. All right, and then after that, we have some rhythms that we're doing on the E string. So we have been practicing these rhythms in class, actually just by doing them with our hand on the arm, like so. So now they're finally translating these to the instrument. So the first rhythm is do da day da do day, which if it helps you to think of it as something else with words rather than sounds, you could think busy, busy, stop, stop. So do da day da do day, do da day da do day, do da day da do day, do da day da do day. So with their little green and red markers here, we're looking for them to stay between the green and red markers because that is where the bow movement initiates from the elbow, and we're just sort of opening and closing the elbow there. The movement gets a little more complicated as we go down to the tip and as we come up to the frog. So right now we're staying around the middle of the bow, in that middle third of the bow, where the movement is initiated by opening and closing the elbow. So okay, okay? The second rhythm is do-da-day, do-da-day. Or you could think long, short, short, long, short, short. And that will look like this. Okay, and that's it for their rhythms. Now, if they're feeling confident on the E string, then they can open their cat door a little bit and do the rhythms on the A string. So do da day da do day. Or do da day do da day. Okay, all right, then that will be it with the bow. And they can put that away. And then we're gonna sing and play our songs. We have Hot Cross Buns and Mary Had a Little Lamb. So for Hot Cross Buns, hot cross buns, hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. Do, so, do, do, so, do, 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 so, do, so, do. And then we can play thumb down. I'm starting with D, do, so pizzicato finger on the D string and ready. And we do the same with Mary Had a Little Lamb. Mary Had a Little Lamb is the song that Class 1 will perform in morning assembly on December 22nd. And in preparation for that, we are focusing our practice on Mary Had a Little Lamb, and we will be playing it twice in a row without stopping. So do have them practice that way. So Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Do, 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 so, do, 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 so, do, do. Again, I'm starting with D, do, thumb on the side of the fingerboard, pizzicato finger on the D string, and ready. Again. Now, when I perform with them, I will be playing the harmony with them the first time, and then I'll play the melody with them the second time. So if you want to help them in preparation for that, you could sing the harmony with them the first time through and then sing the melody with them the second time through. And then the last thing for them to do is make sure that they loosen the bow when they pack up. So to loosen the bow, you're just turning the screw counterclockwise to loosen. There's no particular or specific way the bow has to look, but you just want the hair to be closer to the stick, like so, so that we don't want to keep the bow and the hair in that tightened position for when the bow is packed up, or the bow can warp and the hair will get stretched out, and then the bow won't play as well anymore. So make sure that that is loosened, and that's it. So I will go ahead and upload another tuning video, sort of a tune along with me, that hopefully will be helpful as you're tuning your students' instruments at home. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. Happy practicing.